You know, with all this thing that is happening currently with Guyana and Venezuela, in it, there's a lot of lessons to be learned for other nations in the Caribbean who always talk about it being a zone of peace. It being a zone of peace does not mean that war would not erupt at any time. So now is the time for every nation to realize that there should be prepared, militarily prepared for any eventuality. I'm sure that Guyana probably never thought that the situation will reach to the high point that it has reached right now. I'm sure that in 100 years, they would have never believed that they would have been actually physically threatened by Venezuela. Again, because they think it is a zone of peace. Well, a great warrior theorist has said that if you count on the enemy not coming and you're unprepared, then in the day of battle, you will lose. So, there was several signals being given by Venezuela about its territorial ambitions on Guyana. So, the intelligent thing to do would have been for Guyana to continue to prepare themselves for that eventuality and for that particular day, whenever it comes. But instead, what were they doing? Now, in this moment, everybody is scurrying. Everybody is scurrying away, and in a haste and hoping that somebody else will come to their assistance. Oh, don't worry. The Royal Navy or the Royal Air Force or the Brits will come to our assistance. Oh, maybe the United States will come to our assistance. Now, in times of potential war, you don't want to think that somebody's going to possibly come to your assistance. You want to make sure that you can depend on the arms of your own nation to defend yourself. Well, I saw a video circulating, which I can call comedic at best, where Kamala, apparently the opposition in Trinidad, was offering some sort of assistance to Guyana in the case that Venezuela should invade. Were making statements to the effect that if you touch one, you touch all, as if to say that Trinidad itself is in any position militarily to assist Guyana to defend against Venezuela. And at the same time, it's also very irresponsible, because you don't make those sort of statements because it's diplomatically dangerous, number one. And if you don't have the means and ability to really and truly assist or even defend yourself, how are you going to offer assistance to Guyana? So now everyone, as I said, is, running helter-skelter, looking for some sort of defense plan or some sort of possibility of averting war. But war can only be averted if you have a show of strength. And if you show that it's unprofitable to conduct a war against you. You understand what I'm saying? Right now, there's no deterrent. The only deterrent is the hope, as I said, hope that the United States is possibly going to run to your assistance because you feel like they might want to defend the economic interests. But the question is, does the appetite exist in America for another conflict? Are they motivated to get themselves involved in another conflict? We have a conflict in Ukraine. We got a conflict in Gaza, which you have to devote so much military resources to. We have a conflict in Ukraine where they're devoting so many other resources to. Do you think that they have the appetite now to get involved in another possible military confrontation? That is crazy. So, strategically, how should Guyana go about this? Of course, they should aim for some sort of diplomatic resolution, some sort of peaceable, amicable solution to the problem, and try to have the rest of the CARICOM sort of be some negotiating partner in the process and negotiate the whole thing as a collective body. Of course, they're doing the right thing, going to the international court and stuff like that, and see how much that can influence Venezuela's response. And I believe that Venezuela is sort of applying the pressure because Venezuela in itself is looking for economic relief. And the United States and probably the rest of the world can avert another war if probably strategically they could offer a little more economic relief to Venezuela, which will deter them from trying to pursue a path of war against Guyana. That will be the ultimate and smart thing to do to avert a war. But if Venezuela feels cornered, as they are right now, and there's no economic relief, of course, they might want to pursue a further tightened pressure campaign against Guyana so that, somebody can get the message of, hey, here we are, we're struggling, and we can be, people who are struggling are very unpredictable, to be honest. So that's the ultimate best way forward, because any other way forward would be entirely problematic for the region and would cause unnecessary bloodshed. And honestly, I don't think Guyana is prepared for some sort of military confrontation with Venezuela. And we have to understand the geopolitical alliances that exist, that with the pressure that probably the Russians are under in Ukraine, they will use this as some sort of bargaining tool. They will come to Venezuela's assistance, and then you create another diplomatic mess. So, hey, what do I know? Let's see what all the bright politicians, let's see what they do. You guys have a great Sunday. Have some fun.